As a screenwriter and as a man, I wanted to be the best in what I do, but somehow when I look around the internet, I just can't find people that look like they're alive, that they are breathing with this, with this thing that they do, with writing the stories. Like, I don't see completely conscious beings, and I don't see anything huge going on. I don't see any buzz around screenwriting. It looks like it's getting dead, and it shouldn't be. We have to realize this important thing. We, as human beings, we've been telling stories since God only knows how long, and we've been telling stories in different formats. And the best way to tell the stories right now is through filmmaking. Like, making a movie is the best way to make a story right now. And you have to understand that there is also this good and evil form of storytelling that is one of the most popular stories ever. And somehow, when I look at the dead space at storytelling that becomes right now, when there is no buzz, no inspiring leader that should be leading the people, and at this good and evil plot, it seems like the evil tries to possess this space of storytelling as well, especially in Hollywood. Like, I can't find a truly inspiring person to learn from. It looks like this evil part wins over good right now massively, and we have to understand that we have to counter-attack it. I mean, let me repeat this message once again. We, as screenwriters, we hold the power of storytelling. You have to understand that storytelling is in our blood. We perceive the world through the lens of the story. If you don't understand this simple fact, this baseline of your profession, if you haven't first principle analyzed this, you can't move on forward, because unlocking this understanding of who you are as a professional will give you also the understanding of the power that you hold, because holding the power of telling the story means you can influence people. This power of narrative is everywhere. Once again, we look at the world through the lens of the story. That's why we hear different stories all the time, because these stories nowadays, they have different functions. One of those stories can influence you into the scarcity. The other stories can influence you into being too much interested in something absolutely unnecessary. And all of those different stories, they drag your attention towards absolutely unnecessary things. They mean nothing to you. You don't need those things, but somehow that leads me to the thought that that's the evil wins over the good, and you have to understand and take your consciousness back. We have to counterattack this evil, and how you do it, it's by writing really good stories. And how you write really good stories, you make yourself into a really great human being, because if you write the stories in the right way, your stories are influenced by the emotional state you're in, and all of the stories that you've been through on the way to becoming the best version of yourself. If you're trying to become the best version of yourself, you are changing, and henceforth you can create really good stories out of it. You have to be through that state, but you have to become and try to be a good person. Even through that, by telling the truth of who you are, you will create a really good story. And with that being said, you are going to be capable of creating the stories that teach people the lessons of life, really deep truths. This world that we're living in, it is a battlefield between good and evil. And as I said before, evil is massively winning right now, and you having the understanding of who you are and what you can do, you can become one of the greatest warriors of these generations. Every single generation has to have a war to fight in order to become and move forward. It's always like that. Every single generation has a war to fight, and our generation is an informational war. You have to understand this fact, and you have to become aware of it, because you have an opportunity to become this Achilles with a sword. You can become this man or woman that everybody will remember for generations, because you have changed something, you have done something really positive. You can become the advocate of good, and you have to make that choice. So make that choice. I hope I gave you something to think about. Any donations in the link will be appreciated.